And we are back. So we're all back fresh from watching Ahsoka episode 3.
Yes.
Before we get into this, I know it's really, really soon after. We're going to keep this pretty short because we've all got our full review shows coming up. But just to kind of get some immediate reactions, and I don't think there's any. I don't really know how to have a conversation about this that's not at least a little bit spoilery. So, just before we go any further, I just want to say if you're watching and you haven't seen Ahsoka yet, turn around, go back, come back later.
Go back.
Because it's going to be spoilery. I thought about doing it non-spoiler, but I don't think you could really have much of a conversation about this without some spoilers. So, so we're gonna continue on and just gut reaction. Let's go around the room. What did you think, Nicole?
I was right. Quality. I loved it. I want more. I'm ready for next week. Let's go.
What about you, Amanda?
I love the space battles. Star Wars and space battles, from a really young age. So seeing that again, and it was so good seeing Sabine in the gunner seat. I was like, oh yeah. So definite favorite part.
Yeah. Ro?
It was too short.
I would agree. There was a lot of good quality there, but it did the right thing. Like when it ended, I went, no, I want more. And all the kids did the same thing. Like Elijah, I thought Elijah was ready to go punch Dave Filoni. So
no, this wouldn't be on Dave Filoni this week, would it be? I mean, it would be on technically the other director in this case.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's true, but it's all written. Filoni wrote the whole series, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
But I enjoyed it. I read something. I think Ray, one of our followers, mentioned that Filoni really has this knack of mimicking the original Star Wars. There were quite a few shots in that dogfight that were very reminiscent of the last battle when the Millennium Falcon was being chased by the TIE fighters after they left the Death Star. I mean, it was a carbon copy of the shots of the Millennium Falcon in the foreground, and then those two TIE fighters, or in this case, the two fighters that were chasing the Ahsoka ship. And I think, again, getting back just to the homage to George Lucas, those little ships were very American graffiti-ish, right down to the grill. I mean, even, again, just mentioning the dogfights, they were very World War II-esque.
They were very P-51 Mustang.
Yes,
absolutely. Very much so. Yeah.
So I appreciated all of that. And I love not just how much Filoni will go back to what George did, but how much Filoni will go back to even the concept art for the original. He goes back to Macquarie all the time. Basically, I mean, it's like everything that George didn't use, he has found some way to use it. And I really appreciate that. Ubaldo is in the chat. Thanks for joining us. And just in case you weren't here for the announcement, this is going to be sort of a light spoiler review of the show. So if you hadn't seen it yet, just be warned.
Just our reactions.
So what else? What stood out? Like, I mean, there's been a lot of Techie must have just finished up his stream.
First of all, I want to say I am so glad that Sean is back with Extra Star Wars. We missed the show in the Red 5 Network.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that you are back, Sean.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sort of blown away by it. I mean, it's one of those things. Sometimes you get moments in Star Wars stuff that just kind of leave you grinning from ear to ear when it's over. And the design, the ship designs, the little training sequence with Sabine, both with Ahsoka and the stuff.
The training
I love
sequence
the stuff
with Sabine was really good. With the mask down,
and
but
I like the stuff with Hu Yang as well. Very Japanese traditional martial arts training.
Sensei, dojo.
He's
a breakout character.
He was cracking me up because they say it towards the end, skipping to the end. Sorry, y'all. They said, well, we almost died. And he goes, standard operating protocol. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just dying of laughter, giggling. I just loved it.
So there's a lot of we kind of covered, and it was one of the reasons I wanted to jump on before tonight and kind of ask that question about Sabine and her force sensitivity, because we did start as I kind of suspected, we did kind of get into that. What did you think about the way they're handling that so far?
I like the build up to it.
Yeah.
I like this slow build up. You know, it's not like boom, she's got force powers. I like this kind of like slow, like almost like this kind of out of touch force sensitive is slowly learning basically how to walk.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm curious to see where they're going to go. Like one of my favorite Jedi from the novels, the novel. Ro, did you ever read the novel I, Jedi?
Oh my gosh, I, Jedi, yes.
Corran Horn.
Horn, yeah.
So Corran Horn is a Jedi that a lot of the things that other Jedi can do, he just can't do them. A lot of the kind of more telekinetic powers and connecting with people through the Force, he can't do. But as far as just a warrior through the Force, he's extraordinarily powerful. And so he doesn't do a lot of what a normal Jedi does, but he ends up being one of Luke's most powerful students in his combat abilities. So,
I like that they're introducing, certain characters that have certain abilities, and I don't know if some fans feel like it's like if you're a Jedi and you have the Force, you have to be like either super powerful or you're just not a Jedi. Yeah. And I like that, this in between, aspect of the Force. And, we do have to remind ourselves that the Force is a living energy that surrounds us, everybody. But, Sabine asked some really great questions. And I think these are questions that a lot of fans also would be asking. If the Force is everywhere, why can't everybody just use it? Why can't we just all tap into it?
Andrew used it. He called it for tonight. Totally.
Yeah.
And I agree with Techie. A lot of detail in 33 minutes or 34. I loved it.
Yeah.
Quality.
Oh, yeah.
I have one gripe.
So do I.
Well, you probably have a different one gripe than I do, but my one gripe is about the timeline of Star Wars. This is something they keep doing, and it drives me nuts. But Hu Yang basically says, well, this standard Jedi this training method has worked for a millennia. It's like, and it's like, why are we sticking with 1,000 years when that is not what was said in the original trilogy? 1,000 generations and 1,000 years is a very, very different number.
So do you feel that, maybe he's talking from his perspective? Like
possibly because
he's only been training for 1,000 years, for a millennium.
Yeah. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're looking more from his just general perspective. But they do keep kind of going to the well with mentioning 1,000 years. So I don't know. It just irks me a little bit because I have a little bit of trepidation about them trying to shorten the overall timeline.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like my, 25, 30,000 year timeline rather than 1,000 year timeline.
Right. Because in the grand scheme of things, 1,000 years is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about things being ancient, when we talk about this ancient religion, I don't think of very many things 1,000 years ago being ancient.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, even in our calendar, 1,000 years is an ancient time.
Right. And that's kind of where I go with that. It's like,
you know?
when we look at 1,000 years, I mean, we're talking, a lot of beginnings of industrial civilizations. And so that irks me, but it's not a problem with the show. It's just something that it's a number they keep throwing out there. And I keep going, why are you using this number?
Right. Yeah. Probably Kathleen Kennedy's fault.
We better watch it, or I'm gonna have to launch her out of a cannon again.
Yeah, we better launch.
What else? I like I said, I know everybody's got their own shows coming up, so I don't want to go real deep and basically do everybody's full review tonight. But what else? What else jumped out to y'all? Just is really cool, or a problem, or I think I've got a ghost.
Yeah,
something knocking cans over behind me.
My only gripe was there was one sequence in the middle there that seemed to me very animation-y or cartoony when she's again, light spoilers, but when she's jumping around in space. I'm like, I can see this in the animated shows. It's right now I don't know what I'm seeing. I have to absorb it some more.
Mhm.
She's jumping around in space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no
Yeah.
biggie.
I mean, I like the scene. But it is very animation. But there's a lot of things. I think one of the things it's actually, you kind of wonder about somebody coming from animation and doing live action really for the first time on their own. But I guess what I've come to realize is that people that have done animation at the level of Dave Filoni are used to storyboarding every frame out so meticulously. It just feels like you can just pull every frame out of here and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of his animation background, that it's just the attention to detail in every shot that I think a lot of filmmakers overlook these days. But I'm loving the characters. One we hadn't even discussed yet. Oh, we got Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of will we or won't we get Jason, and we got him, and and
they don't seem to they don't seem to mess around too. I mean, I was worried that they were going to kind of like play around with the whole Ezra thing. But I mean, the first episode, you see Hera, the first thing she says, "Oh, what about Ezra?" I'm like, okay, so there's, the cat's out of the bag there. But they're not messing around.
Future Jedi.
Sure. I was really surprised to see Jason actually, because it was a will he, they, won't he?
Right.
Because they hadn't mentioned Jason at all since the ending of Rebels, so I was really shocked actually to see him.
My feeling
And what,
in the Force,
and what hair color will he have?
See, my feeling in the Force, are known as those Spidey senses, is that future Jedi, and I think we could see this as a potential to the future. Like,
I mean, I think we definitely.
I think definitely, yeah.
I think we definitely saw a little bit of Hera's conflict. Is her husband, or he wasn't her husband, but Jason's father died because he was a Jedi, right? And now her son, that's what he wants. He wants to be a Jedi, and can she let him go? So I think we're setting up some interesting things there.
Do you think, with setting this up, do you think he could be in the Daisy Ridley New Jedi Order?
Possibly.
Jason is Broom Boy. No,
he's not.
He's not.
So I think where we're going to go with that is, I think we're going to either see Ahsoka take on more trainees. What I've been pitching in Star Wars for a year or so now is, I want to see multiple schools. I don't want to see one Jedi school, Luke school. I want to see new schools pop up. Probably more like
a franchise, like a Kentucky Fried Chicken on every corner.
No, it's more. It's kind of more what I imagine the ancient Jedi were. That you had temples, because we have temples all over the galaxy.
We have temples all over,
And you kind of think, well, this was a school of Jedi, and then they might not have been the exact same as this other school of Jedi over here on this planet. And I kind of would like to see Jedi charter schools, exactly. But I would kind of like to see that where you begin to build different, like slightly different points of view within the Jedi themselves. And that they're not all
religions.
That maybe that it was the centralized rule of the Jedi on Coruscant that led to the downfall of the Jedi. And so I think either we see Ahsoka re-embrace the Jedi, or maybe not. Maybe it's a school where she's training outside of the realm of what the Jedi are, or I still speculate that we couldn't possibly have killed off all of Luke's students. I think we're going to see, before this is all over with, that we're going to see Luke train other Jedi that are out there. in the galaxy doing things
Yeah.
that weren't killed as students at his school. And so,
Mhm.
I mean, Jason will have long been an adult by the time the events of
So,
the sequel trilogy come about. So, like, even if he trains with Luke, we can still have him out there having his own adventures.
yeah.
So he's not Broom Boy?
No.
I would say,
No.
unless he
No.
doesn't age.
Yes,
I don't know. Maybe it's a force thing. He ages differently through the force, or not at all.
Backwards.
backwards. He's
Like
just backwards.
Mork and Mindy's son.
I'm super excited for all the people saying Hera didn't feel like Hera. I want to know what y'all felt about her in this episode.
was
When Hera
definitely
stands
Hera.
up, what she says to the senator is,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like,
Oh, you
I
know what?
loved it.
When you said when Hera stands up, I was thinking of something else. Sorry.
Bro, I know what you're thinking.
He's thinking of her scuttlebutt. Cat's out.
All right, switch
Oh.
gears. Nicole, you're up.
I loved her sassiness. I was like, yes, this is the Hera we want. This is what we want. We want sassy, witty Hera back. We want her standing up against them. And I don't trust some of those senators. I trust Mon Mothma. It was so good to see her, but
Yeah.
I
It
don't
was
trust
great
the
to
other
see Mon
senators. I
Mothma.
felt like the one was
Yeah.
sturdy. I could totally feel. I'm like, if I'm one of the Force, I just totally about to grab him and just toss him into the next galaxy over, because I didn't trust the one.
Yeah.
X. I don't want to butcher his name, but was the one with the X. Go figure. X.
Wasn't his name like Zeno or something like
Xeno
that?
or Exion or something.
Yeah.
Send the next.
But I loved that moment, and I'm assuming we're leading towards Hera resigning her commission from the New Republic Army.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That
I see her and
explains-
Mothma working together at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Sabine is like, what? She was surprised that Hera was kind of sticking to the rules to some degree. And I think that's going to be the I think you're right. That's going to be the kind of the linchpin that'll get her out of there. I was really worried about seeing Hera, and even the first episode, because I still had animated Hera in my head, and real live action Hera was slightly different, and I wasn't really jiving with her at first. But I think the actress is bringing something different to the role, and I think I'm appreciating it a lot more.
I think it's just it's kind of like how the original first season of Rebels is. The first one is just get going, and season 2 is when now we're getting it greased. By season 4, you're like binging, and I think I kind of can see that. So
I like that she's giving like her own little flair to Hera too. Like all credits to the voice actress in the Vanessa Marshall in the animated. But I like how Mary is kind of giving her own little touch to Hera.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like Ahsoka is too. Ahsoka's more serious. Like I'm still waiting for that sass. I'm waiting for the snippy to come out. And
well, we got a little touch of it when she's out in space.
We got a little touch of it. Yeah, a little touch of it.
A touch, but we don't. I don't think, and that's kind of the way I'd prefer them to do it, because she is different and she's gone through a lot by this point, and I don't necessarily want to see them have her be all stoic and then just like flip a switch and be old Ahsoka. Like she needs to grow back towards being that character. So, and she's really, I mean, even if you look at the last season of Rebels, like she's pretty stoic when she shows up.
Yeah, she is.
I remember.
Stoic. Yeah, she is.
She was always stoic when she was like the fulcrum personality. Yeah. And I think, once this crew gets back together, we might actually see Ahsoka loosen up, because it might, harken her, back to when they were all together doing stuff.
Yes.
I did have one thing I wanted to add. Was this the first time we heard Merrick speak?
Yeah.
In this episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting too. He had a voice modifier.
Yeah, it's mechanical. It's very mechanical.
Very mechanical.
That's Broom Boy.
I don't think so.
Did any of the other Inquisitors have voice modifiers in their helmets, or is this the first time?
Not to that extreme. No, I don't really. I don't think so at all.
I don't think so that I remember. Yeah,
but certainly not like that. That was to the point where I almost wondered, like, if he's only able to speak through a mechanical means. whoever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, and I see, we got all kinds of theories. Jason is Jude Law.
Yeah. As long as Merrick is not Carrie Elwes, am I saying his name wrong?
Carrie Elwes,
as you wish.
Carrie Elwes.
Right.
Yeah.
I swear I will
Yeah.
lose my stuff.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see now that he's had lines. I'll be curious
I'm
to see if
interested
we
to
could
see
figure out.
who he is. Yeah, because it was interesting to have him speak for the first time in a very mechanical voice.
Yeah.
So,
Did
like, I
anybody
wonder-
happen to catch if Sam Witwer did voices again this week?
I did
I
not.
didn't
I didn't look at the credits all that closely tonight.
I
No.
jumped onto Extra Techies too. I was just
Okay.
like, I was chatting
Yeah.
with you guys. I was on his.
Yeah.
I know that
Do you
I'm
think
pretty
it could
sure
be-
Sam Witwer was voicing the HK droids, other than
Right.
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
one main one that a woman voiced, but I think he might have been voicing all the others.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
So,
think Sam's in the armor, possibly?
well, I think they've given us the name of the actor, or at least a stunt person that's been in the armor. But we know how that works in Star Wars. Just because when it's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
masked person in armor, they're just rolling with the stuntmen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the person playing whoever the character is. It's also possible that, like, a lot of these Inquisitors, that we'll just never see his face.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm rolling on the credits now on my other screen. So,
And
Okay.
we also
I
kind of
guess so.
speculated. I know there's a lot of theory that he is an Inquisitor. I was speculating the other day that the Inquisitors are long gone from the galaxy here. I mean, he could have, and Inquisitors didn't have names. So it's possible that he's an Inquisitor. I think the mechanical voice is a good way of hiding who he is a little longer.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that he never was an Inquisitor, that it's someone that killed an Inquisitor.
All right. So
Possibly,
now it's saying the credits. Now it's saying that Merrick is Paul Darnell.
So that's the
Paul
stunt actor
Darnell.
that played him last week, right?
I
Is it the same
don't
actor?
know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not 100% positive.
So
but
it's
I
not
think
giving
it
a
is.
voice credit. Okay.
They're probably
No.
just letting us enjoy this a little bit longer. I'm kind of glad
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
letting us stew in this.
interesting.
Filoni's done that actually a good bit on his animated shows, where he would hold back on giving us
Voice
a name.
credit. Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, even to the point where he
Right.
was voiced Chopper for years without us knowing.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, and then like Sam Witwer, I'm like, I'm going back to C2E2, bro. You and I
Right.
watching Sam Witwer, and it's like going. Part of me wants to do the Miranda Hillard moment from Mrs. Doubtfire and go, the whole time you knew about this the whole time, and you know that he probably knew back at C2E2 that he had done voices for this, and you and I would have been like,
Like, wow.
Sam is one of those guys. Yes. Sam is one of those guys that I've been saying for years. Like, I don't care. Like, you don't have to bring him in as Star Killer, but the man deserves a live action role.
He
at this
deserves a
point.
live
Yeah, he
action
does.
role. Yeah, at this
Yeah.
point, he does.
And like a
He's
real
been
one,
in
not
so
like a one-off cameo. Like, give the
Exactly.
man a
Something
role.
good. Something
Give
good.
the man a
Yeah.
role. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good looking fella. I'd watch. Hey, gotta have something once in a
He's
while
been
for
in
us.
so much Star Wars. The guy deserves a live action role.
Okay,
you know?
that
And
is
he's a good live
He's a
action
really good-
actor.
He is. He's a
Yes.
good live action actor
And
too. Yeah.
when we saw him at C2E2 this year in Chicago, I was just like watching them interact together with Ashley Eckstein and just the whole
Yeah.
cast from Clone Wars. It was so awesome. But then he just kept going and pushing it. And I loved watching him change right there in front of us. I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
just awesome.
Yeah.
And I just remember being extra excited.
Oh, and he's such a Star Wars nerd too. I
He
don't know
is.
if
He
anybody.
knows so much.
Yes,
Well,
he
I don't know if
is.
anybody ever watched the Schmodown on the movie Trivia Schmodown, where he was competing for their Star Wars title
Oh,
off and on
yes.
for years.
Yes.
And I mean, he was unstoppable at trivia, but it was because he had almost perfect recall on all the dialogue from all the movies and
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah. I don't see his name in the additional voices. So
Okay.
Yes.
No,
He may have
okay.
just, like I said, I was pretty confident that was him voicing the HK droids last week.
The
it could
HK
be.
droids, yeah.
So hopefully he'll pop up. I know Filoni has been wanting to bring him in as another character for a while. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, but at this point, it could literally be anybody in that suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not really in favor of it being Ezra, but it could be Ezra. It could be.
I don't want it to be Ezra.
I mean,
I don't want it to be
Ezra
Ezra.
because it wouldn't make sense if it's Ezra because he's been withdrawn. So,
Yeah. Okay. So something we didn't talk about when we were going through all the really specifics, and I don't remember who posted this. It was you, Amanda, that posted this in the chat because I had looked for the name Merrick, and I could not. I knew that I knew the name, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
and
I posted it in the chat. Yeah,
and it was from the Arthurian
legends,
where Merrick is he's basically turned into a wolf. So our other dark side users are being compared to wolves, right? So
yes,
a lot of times Filoni's using wolves as good guys. In this place, he seems to be using wolves as the bad guys.
As the bad guys.
And so we have two wolves from Norse mythology, and then this person turned into a wolf
by Morgana.
By Morgan.
Yep.
So we've got Morgan. So and we've seen the Night Sisters possess people.
Yes.
So even if it's Ezra, we could be dealing with someone that's possessed by Night Sister magic.
And maybe once he came out of it, he'd be go and let him have it and let it rip.
Right. But I mean, we saw Sabine and Kanan both possessed by.
That's a really good theory, though.
I mean, Kanan was even possessed by Night Sisters, and he's forced them. I mean, he's a Jedi Knight, so
yeah. So I mean, that further just goes towards it could be anybody.
Yeah.
It could be somebody that's not even a bad guy that's just doing someone else's bidding at this point. So
some guy named Cliff.
Yeah.
Played by
yeah, and I love this that Morgan and Shin don't really appear to be on the same page,
right?
Yeah, they seem to have this rivalry.
I love that.
Or something. Yeah,
I'm waiting for them to kind of.
It's Gene's guy.
Like go against each other.
Yeah, it's Gene's guy. That's what I said earlier.
And in some ways, I almost feel like while Morgan is very powerful, I think Shin, unless she messes up, she might be able to overtake Morgan, depending on how they want to go with the story and how long they want to keep this new character around.
Yeah, well, and that's what I love. I mean, there's tons of things to theorize about, but we don't really have any idea where any of these characters end up at the end of this story, and I'm really digging that.
Yeah,
not just that either. I'm wondering. Oh, Ro, you want to go first, or
I was just going to say that I usually make a prediction on Coruscant Radio Underground, your live shows. So I'm going to predict that Sabine will have the Force, but then she'll die.
Oh, okay.
Like right after she finds out she's got the Force, she's like having tea, and then she brings the teacup over to her, and then Merrick finishes her off right then and there.
Talk about spill the tea in the wrong way, bro.
So, in kind of contrast to Rose's prediction about Sabine dying, what if it's an echo of A New Hope, and what we actually get is Ahsoka dying? And sending
Ahsoka in her own show dying,
and sending Sabine to Luke to finish her training.
It could happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. Honestly, I'm still kind of in the. I don't really think anybody really important is going to die in this show because I think he at least wants to carry them over to the film. And I know Rose's argument is basically, I think that one of them dying off in this maybe adds weight going towards a movie.
And I still think that it could be Sabine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's certainly possible. I mean, I wouldn't rule that out. I wouldn't rule Hera out.
Would they kill off Ezra, do you think?
At this point, literally, I think they could just about kill off anybody. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The
Y'all-
man bros would say they will kill off Ezra because he's a man, and it'll leave all the women
That is
alive.
true, and it would leave all the women alive. Yeah, that's a good point, Ro. Very good point.
Well, I think any of them are up for it, and that just sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I'm
that's
gonna
what
put
keeps
this
the-
up
yeah.
here for. I'm gonna put this up here for just a second because I just want to say, I'm really missing That's a Load of Star Wars. I mean, we're
Oh,
we're
yeah.
3 episodes in, and we don't have That's a Load of Star
You're
Wars for
right.
this show yet.
Cam, where are
We
you?
don't have a song yet. We don't have a song yet. I miss
No.
the songs.
All right. Well, that's kind of about. I kind of wanted to run about a 30-minute show just to kind of let everybody give their general thoughts. Anybody have anything else they wanted to add before we wrap up?
I am ready for next week.
Yeah,
And that's the
definitely.
good thing is that it definitely, it was too short, but it left
Mhm.
me ready to come back and see the next one. So
Real fast, I know Andrew said he got here a little late. Could Ezra be Merrick? I mean, we talked about that, from the get-go. And I originally thought it was going to be him, or it would be him, because I saw that behind the scenes picture of the actor that plays Ezra in the mask. But again, Andrew, you and I talked about this last week, that it wouldn't make sense that he's here when he's supposed to be there with Thrawn. So who knows?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my kind of understanding is that they've not only gone to this other galaxy, they just don't have a way back. So, I'm kind of hoping that it's not Ezra, mostly because, I mean, I think you could tell an interesting story with it being Ezra, certainly. But I kind of just want a new character.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But would it be a letdown if this new character just happens to be just nobody?
Well, that's possible too.
Or would it be more impactful if it was somebody that maybe we've seen before? Or, I don't know how. I don't know if it'll be Ezra, because I think there's just too much riding on him not being there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer that he's wherever Thrawn is, and that we don't exactly know what kind of person we're going to find when we find Ezra because of where he's been.
Yeah,
like I prefer that. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go. There's a lot of there are a lot of possibilities, in this show. So
the Purgles look great.
They really did.
They did.
Really
They
did.
good.
I
They
didn't
were
know.
awesome. Yeah.
But again, I was again reading the credits. It's really great to see ILM kind of taking the reins on this show, and we had so much disparity in quality when it comes to visual effects with Book of Boba Fett and a little bit of Kenobi. I think there were like 6 or 7 special effects companies for the Book of Boba Fett. But it looks like, and there's always, multiple effect companies working on these shows, but it looks like ILM's got the biggest chunk. So
now,
good
Ro, I have a question for you. Have you noticed the volume as much in the show, or no?
So I talked about this on Saturday. I think my mind is getting used to the fact that it's a tool that they're going to be using. And I don't think I'm nitpicking as much, because I am kind of, more interested in the narrative, more interested in the show and the characters, that I'm noticing the volume less. Doesn't mean that they're using it less. I think my brain is just kind of filtering it out.
Do you think they're using it?
And I
less,
think,
or
I think Dave Filoni has said that, he'll use the volume, if he calls for it, if the story calls for it, if the technical aspect calls for it. He's not afraid to go the Andor route and then, shoot in real locations, et cetera, et cetera. So,
well, I think the volume stage they're shooting in now is significantly larger than what they started with in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, they were going to build. They're going to build they're going to build 2 more. One in the UK for the new movies or the new series that are being shot, and then one in Canada, which is going to be 2.5 times bigger than the one that they originally used. So, yeah.
So I think that I also think that there's something to, because they have the volume, but then you build the foreground of the set. And I think there's probably a lot. There appears to be a lot of attention to detail in the foreground of the shots that I think are volume shots on this
makes
show,
it more,
which I think blurs that line a little better. Where when you can't see the transition point from the real props in the foreground to find where the transition point into the background is. But real quick before we wrap up, and we will be doing our full spoiler review on Thursday at I gotta check. It'll be Thursday. I'll post a time. I can't remember, and I've got to dodge I guess the exegesis is on Thursday nights now, right, DJ?
Correct.
So I don't want to step on his time slot. So I gotta check that before I announce it. But we will be on Thursday night. But let's go around the room real quick and let everybody tell you what they've got going on. Amanda, I'll start with you because you're just launching your new show.
Yes.
And let you have a chance to tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so I'm the host of Level Up Arcade podcast, which is a video gaming podcast I co-host with Gilbert from Fulcrum Entertainment. We have another episode coming out a week from Saturday, which we'll be doing a Red Dead Redemption 2 review and discussion.
Very nice. What about you, Nicole?
Well, let's see here. This upcoming Sunday, myself, I'm part of Used and Abused, so we'll be doing this week Pixar's Brave, stemming off of actually when Marisha was on with us. We did that princess one, and then hopefully some Muppets will be happening soon.
Yeah, it was supposed to start tonight, but we'll reschedule as quickly as possible.
All good. We like all hands on deck, so we're good. So other than that, peace, love, fandoms, find me there, all that jazz, all the good stuff.
All right, that jazz.
What about you, Ro?
So today was a busy day for me. I just finished my video interview with Kai Patterson, the filmmaker editor that did the Kai Patterson edition of the Kenobi series, cut it into a 2.5-hour movie. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm going to drop that on Sunday. The jury is still out, but it'll be a special Scarif Live. Not in the usual time slot. So I'll check as they say, I'll check my local listings to see where I can drop that. I also just recorded this week's episode, which will be dropping on Thursday. I spoke with Dave from What Star Wars Means to You, and we talked about fan expectations. Are they harmful for your movie-going experience, or is it normal to expect certain things from fans? And then I guess, we really talked about the difference between where everybody's line in the sand is when it comes to our own expectations. So that'll drop on Thursday. And our Sentry Mode Q&A little segment with Kyber Crystal. She has her makeup channel, and she loves talking Star Wars and showcasing some makeups.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Wait.
All right. Well, you can find me running the Twitter account for this show at crew_podcast, at CRU_podcast, or find both of our shows, the Science Fictionary podcast and Coruscant Radio Underground, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find all of our shows at bio.link/Red5 and check that out for a whole list of Red 5 Network family podcasts. So lots of stuff over there. Go check it out. Thank you to everybody that joined us in the chat. Sean, Ubaldo, Andrew.
Andrew
may have been it.
Andrew number 2.
Yeah.
Andrew number 2.
But thank y'all for joining us in the chat. Until next time, guys, may the force be with you.
This podcast is a member of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts and content creators, visit bio.link/Red5.